Hi, Sabine. So I hear you have 13 years experience with triathlons, and I am getting ready to have a 5-day triathlon mindset challenge for people who have to want to do a triathlon, but they're afraid or they don't have experience with swimming. So they say, I can't do that. Or they may have other fears. So we're going to tackle quite a few things in this mindset challenge of signing up for a triathlon. Now,
Awesome.
tell me about
That's exciting.
awesome. I specifically want to talk about your first triathlon, and I'll talk about a little bit of my first triathlon. But yes, let's jump right into it and tell us your first triathlon. What were your fears around that, and what made you finally decide, I'm going to go ahead and take the plunge?
So, hands down, my biggest fear was the swim. I felt pretty comfortable on the bike. I'm okay as a runner. The crazy thing with the swim is I have done swimming my whole life. And at that point, I mean, I did it. I was on the swim team in junior high, except I always had this fear of what was at the bottom of the drain at the bottom of the pool. I always that just I had always had this fear that that something was hiding down there. So for me, when I got into the open water, for me it was really about in a lake you can't see around. So that was the thing. I was in a lake. Um, I had done all of the training. So for me, it wasn't a matter of could I do it? Could I do it really well at that point? No. But what made it so that I felt comfortable signing up for my first one was I knew I could cross the finish line. Even if I had to, again, my hardest leg was running. Even if I had to walk the whole darn run, okay, I could still cross the finish line. And for me on that first one, it was just about finishing. What I learned when I started my first triathlon and I got all lined up for the swim, and then they did, I think it was a whistle on that first one, and we all ran in nicely initially, even though it was all chaotic. It actually was really good for me because at the beginning of the swim, there was all this going on. I even remember, I think somebody kind of swam on top of me, which is another fear that sometimes people have. It happens. Nobody means anything by it. What happened for me is the swim was going out and around, and I got to the midpoint, and there was all of a sudden it was quiet around me. And that's when my head jumped in. And I remember popping up my head and looking around, and Victor, absolute terror set in. All of my fears came up. And I mean, if I could have gotten up and run out of the water,
Yeah.
I would have. Maybe this was the way it was supposed to happen. When I looked around in my panic, I was literally at the halfway point. There was no fast way out. So I figured I might as well keep going because there's nothing else I can. If I want out of the water, which at that point I just wanted out of the water. The only way to do it was to finish. So that's what I did. I kept going. I took some breaths to try to bring my fears down. Amazingly, I ended up getting way off course at the very end. I happened to go through, there were a bunch of weeds because I was way off course.
Uh-huh.
And so, with that bunch of weeds, I ended up crawling over them. Like all the things that could go wrong for me went wrong, but then I was done. I got out of the swim and I just had to do the bike and the run or run walk or however I needed to do it to get done.
You
Um,
got it.
yeah, yeah. And
So,
after that, I mean, it was not that everyone after that was easy, but and I
yeah.
still had the fear and I still had some of the fear of the open water come up. But once I had done it once,
You knew you could do it.
I knew I could do it and I knew I could get through the fear. And every year, every event, that fear got lesser and lesser and lesser and lesser. So, I mean, towards the end, I ended up stopping because of COVID. And that was my last year, was the year before the lockdown. Um, I think in the water, every once in a while, I'd be like, oh, huh, I wonder, I'm swimming. I wonder if something's in the water. Maybe. And I'm going to keep going because I know I'm going to be okay. So for me, that was the biggest hurdle was all in my mind. It had always been in my mind. And it was the practice in it, jumping in, practicing endurance swims. I know you do that, Victor, right? You work with people in.
Yes, we do a lot of practices in the open water and specifically in cold water because that's a very common fear is that cold water swimming creates a little panic.
Oh,
And
how is it? I didn't have that. So how? Tell me a little bit about that.
I experienced it the first time when I went into cold water because I had other fears around water, especially the proficiency of swimming. The first time I went on the pool, I thought, man, I can't even go pool length. How am I ever going to do more distance than that? Then I got better at it. Finally, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go on an open water swim. The first time I went to the open water, it was it wasn't cold, so I struggled, but I finished just like you. I finished. Then my first triathlon was in an open water where the water was very cold and I could not relax. I put my head in and I had that reaction where like and as I okay, just I told myself just relax, relax. And every time my face would hit the water, it would have the same reaction. And I couldn't get my heart rate, that panic feeling. And it's either I am going to have to uh, just paddle through with my face up because I just can't get to relax. And I was like the last one in the water. So to me, it was like, oh my gosh, I have to take care of this. I don't know what happened. As I did more research, I found out that it's common. And a few things that we can do about it is just practice in another setting where it's not in a race, but to relax in cold water and and then start swimming, but learn to relax in cold water. And that reaction happens more in some people than others. I have that reaction. So when I'm getting ready to go to any of the triathlons, even today, if I can't get into the water the day before or the day of, and this happened in Maple Valley when I did the half Ironman, in my hotel, I just turned on the very cold water on the bathtub, and it's the morning of the race, and I'm just sitting there relaxing in cold water and just letting me know, picturing like, you know what, I'm relaxed. This is what the water's going to feel that. So minimize the shock.
Yeah, yeah. Did you ever use have you used wetsuits? I would sometimes use one, but I know some people just rent them as well. Some people
Yeah. And
don't.
all these times it was just with wetsuits. It was with wetsuits, but you still get, especially in the face, because you're not wearing anything in the face, you get that shock feeling when you have that kind of reaction to cold water. Mm, but it was, and then I started asking other people when we have conversation because I was mostly a runner, and so my weakness was definitely the biggest weakness was the swim, and second was the bike. But when I was having conversations with other people on the run and letting them know, oh yeah, I'm practicing for a triathlon, I commonly would hear, oh, I would love to do a triathlon, but I don't know how to swim or I'm afraid of the water. And I'm
Right?
curious, you, Sabine, was that common in your conversations?
Yeah. Yeah. I have with the people that I would do triathlons with, that was the and actually let me change it. For the people who weren't doing triathlons, that the water was the fear that I always heard the most. I would love to, but the swim,
Yes.
the swim. There was always some version of it. And I think for me, and it sounds like it was very similar for you as well, it was a matter of doing it once and realizing it wasn't actually as terrible as I thought it was, and finding techniques to make it better and better and better, because it did always get better for me. Have you noticed that for you as well, that it was
Yes, that the more you do it, the more you find little tricks of overcoming those obstacles or those fears, and that, yeah, it's not as hard as we think, but we do have to take those little bit of steps, and you're not going to go from one's, even for seasoned swimmers, if they haven't gone practicing for the whole year or the whole season and all of a sudden they just want to jump in the water, their performance is going to take a huge hit because they're not prepared for the things they forgot of the fears or how to overcome those things. So yeah, there's a lot of little ways, and that's the reason why I chose swim for our conversation, to
mm,
specifically talk about swimming and the fear around swimming, because that is the most common. Although in the challenge, we will tackle other fears that people have that prevent them from doing a triathlon, or just that they're having a lot of anxiety. They want to do a triathlon, but the swim is the obstacle. And I want them to feel comfortable. So if they do sign up for the challenge, they can understand that, hey, I can get over this fear and take on this challenge, because it is fun to do these sports and to get out of our comfort zone. And there's little tricks that it's not that hard to get over it, but with the right support and the right conversations, they'll be able to do that.
and are you covering those, you're covering the a lot of those tips and things in the challenge as well,
Yes,
yeah?
we're going to
Oh,
cover the
awesome.
swim. We're going to cover other fears that people have, whether getting injured. We'll cover the mindset that it takes to have the resilience to perform at a level that they may want to. They may just want to finish. They may want to try something, and we'll cover all of those. It is a 5 day where we just spend about 10 minutes each one of those days tackling the different mindset that it takes to do a triathlon.
Mhm.
And after that, those 5 day challenge, they'll know and be confident that they can do it. And they'll get rid of the myths around that they may, that's keeping them from doing it.
Yeah, I think we all go in with an idea. All of us who have done a triathlon go in the first one with an idea of, or an idea of some things that are some ideas that are true and some that frankly aren't true. So really just doing that first one, being ready. I know for me, I want to say I kind of got the bug. It was really fun to do a race that included the three.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that's great that you're helping people overcome whatever hurdles that they have to just step into that first one.
Absolutely. And I specifically like to get the water one, but if once they get fear over the water or open water, because that is the most common, then all the other ones will be easy to tackle. The open water, because I want to go back to talking a little bit more of those fears, because they're so different from everybody, what I noticed. Because
Mm,
I grew up in Mexico where we used to go to the rivers and do the swimming. So my fears weren't so much around the water. And I also did a lot of scuba diving. So I feel like I don't have those fears. I've already done scuba diving, I've done this in the water. But then hearing other athletes when we would go to swim that they were terrified. Like you talked about the weeds,
Mhm.
and some people cannot handle the anything touching them when they're swimming.
Right.
But they've overcome it, and just through practice or through certain ways of thinking, mm, they've overcome them.
Yeah.
Others is the cold water, and others have not practiced, for example, when the water gets choppy. Mm,
Yes. And it happens sometimes. Absolutely. The
yes.
wind will pick up and the water will get more choppy. Yeah.
Yeah. And others, like myself, don't discover like that they have a fear or they have a reaction until they go in the water. For me, it was the open water. I didn't know that I was going to react like that in open water. Others think, well, so and so does it. I'm going to go and do an open water swim. The water's choppy, and then they realize, oh my God, that is very different. There's no lines like there are in the pool. There's the water's not nice and flat like it is on the pool, and that's when they discover I it's very different.
And
And
I
that,
go ahead. Oh, sorry.
I mean, that's what we sort of talk about in these challenges, some of those things and how we overcome them so that it's not an obstacle if that's what's keeping them from signing up for a triathlon.
Yeah. Yeah. And the words you just said, I think, are key. It's different. If you've spent time in the pool, the open water is different. It's once you have that first event, once you've even done a handful of practices, you get it. You get what the open water is and how it's different. So, um, well, Victor, I would love to do a recode. If you think this would be a good opportunity to do a recode, I would love to offer up, give to everybody who is listening to this on the replay and the recording an experience of moving from where they are currently, any fears they have, any internal obstacles, whether they are physical or mental or emotional, that uh, to shift those to a state of more ease, a state of more calm in the water, and when they imagine being in the water. Is that something that we can do?
Yes, yes, I would love to do that. And just for our audience, I want to let them know that that's what Sabine does. She helps people with this recoding and other techniques, and she's amazing at it. So absolutely, let's try it with the swim
Excellent.
and water
Okay.
sports.
So I'm going to speak, Victor, to you, but anybody watching this or listening to this will also get the same effect. Um, that's the way it works. So it's just allowing the change to happen as much as it can. It's just allowing. So what I'm going to do, Victor, I am going to work with the part of you that I'm going to call your superconscious. Could also be called your higher self. It's the part of you that creates your experiences. The part of you that says, I'm going to choose to go outside. I'm going to choose to uh, join a triathlon. I'm going to choose to swim with ease. All of those are choices, they're experiences. Our mind might say one is better than the other,
Mhm.
but for this part that creates experiences, they're all just experiences. So I'm
Okay.
going to work with that part of you as you being my representation for everyone else. I am going to specifically work with that part of you, your superconscious, in 3 different ways. I'm going to have your superconscious pull together a new experience using all the parts inside of you that
Okay.
created your old swim experience. I'm going to have them, your superconscious, bring up this perfect team that can create from where you are to a new, better feeling experience. So the perfect team, I have lots of processes in my field, in my information field. I give permission to you, Victor, and anyone else listening to have access to whatever the best processes are to make your shift, and then to jump as far and align with that result of swimming with ease. And I'm going here because I can feel it. The ease and the calm are here, right? It's in your mind, it's in
Okay.
your heart, it's in your gut too. I don't know about you, Victor, but I've certainly had the nerves go.
Yes, the
I've done triathlon.
butterflies.
So really aiming for calm and ease, specifically in the swim. So just in case anyone else might have any questions, Victor, do you have any questions about what I just described?
No, I think that I'm ready. I'm ready to do that. And no, you said it pretty well.
Perfect. Okay, then what I'm going to do to get us all started, Victor, I'm going to ask you and everyone else to close your eyes. Thank you. And what I want you to do, Victor, is I want you, because it doesn't matter what anybody's skill level is, we are going to shift it into more calm, more ease. So, Victor, I want you to imagine, which one do we imagine first? I want you to imagine you are in the water. And to start with, I just want you to imagine that you're walking in the water. You know, your feet are in, you're just entering. You're feeling the water against you. Yeah, yeah. And I want you to feel, layer on top of it as if this was like a cake. I want you to layer on top of that. You've got your feet in the water. Maybe you're getting up to your calves. I want you to slow your breathing down and just put a layer of calm and allow your shoulders to drop down. You're imagining you're starting to enter into the water, and just bring in more calm, bring in more ease. And I want you to walk, all of you, a little bit further into the water and keep going past your knees. Let the water come up a little higher and have it go to your waist. And I want you to pause in the water. You can feel the bottom just fine. And I want you to pause and I want you to feel again and really amp up that calm and that ease. How deep and slow can you make that breath? How much can you, if the water temperature feels a little cool, turn up the water temperature. This is your visual. You get to make it feel as good in any way that you want. So change, if it's a little choppy, the water, turn it down. If it's a little cool, if it's a little too warm, you change it so you can feel so at ease inside. Oh, that was you just did a nice breath, Victor. That was a nice, awesome deep breath. So I want you to stay in this space. Actually, no, I just got corrected. I'm using intuition to guide me through this. So actually, at this point, I want you all to walk even further in, still holding on to that calm and that ease. Walk at your own pace until your shoulders are just at the edge of the water. Take a deep breath. Feel into that. Feel how it's natural. It's very natural. It's very easy. You're just standing there. No care in the world. It feels good. And when you're ready, I'd like you to imagine, and even if you feel like you believe you're not good at swimming, I just want you to imagine you jump in the rest of the way, you duck your head under the water, and you just start to swim. Whatever stroke you want, you just start to move. And I want you to continue to hold on to this visualization of you are just swimming. Go ahead and swim in whatever direction feels the best. Hold on to that idea and that feeling of ease and calm. And I'm going to do a little bit of conversation with your superconscious right now. So you'll hear me say it out loud because your superconscious is going to be the one to make the shift. Superconscious, are you there? Yes. Superconscious, I want you to see this visualization of swimming in open water. How easy it is, that there is a sweet spot in the stroke. It just moves, the body moves with ease. There's almost a fish-like ease quality that the body can also be and belong in the water. Notice how if people want, they can put their head down, that the stroke is good. It's good enough. It is good enough to finish. It is good enough to make it better. Whatever is that next step, superconscious, do you see the ease and calm and grace in getting there? Yes. Superconscious, you already know what we're going to do. I described it. And I'm going to add on a couple more pieces. Superconscious, I want you to pull together the perfect team, the inner trainer that is super supportive and really knows that next micro step that is needed to feel good. Feeling good leads to success. That inner success leads to that outer success. Superconscious, find that role, that part that will be the inner trainer that feeds exactly what's necessary to clearly see that next step. Superconscious, please allow for any family history to just wash away. It washes away in the water. It gets absorbed and it gets transmuted. So if you superconscious, take that perfect team, have them pull into and work the perfect processes to align with that swimming that is calm, ease. It's like it actually can be a little fun. So feel into that. Bring that into everyone, your visualizations. This can be fun. This can be enjoyable. And I'm hearing, just like this can be enjoyable, so can the whole triathlon. Superconscious, when I snap my fingers, that's my indication to you to please go, make it all so, make this the new experience. Victor, I want you to keep your eyes closed. Everyone else, please keep your eyes closed. And Victor, just from your point of view, how do you feel about the swim now? How does it feel?
A lot more calm. I feel like effortless, like I can swim without any fears. And I guess the word that I'm coming up with, it feels downstream, like I just have to follow the water. My body will float with ease, and my breath will be also with ease and without a lot of effort.
Yes, I love that. I love what you created. When you're ready, you can open up your eyes. Thank you. Thank you. So, for everyone, Victor as well, this, what I'm hearing is 24 hours. This new alignment, this new creation will completely finish in 24 hours. And that's just allowing the time for the things that don't align to be removed, and this new alignment to be just, it's already there, and it just allows it to be the new story.
Be
So
the
if
new-
anybody wants to also rewatch this Recode, you can do a next step and a next step and keep aligning more and more with that next step. So have at if that feels fun to you. Thank you,
Thank you
Victor.
so
Thank
much. Yeah, that was one that was so relaxing. I pictured myself in the water. I done it. I was like, and the one thing that I was thinking is, I mentioned being in the bathtub, and I was, oh wow, there was remembering these things as when I was in the water, that would have been so much more powerful because yeah, the level of relaxation that I feel right now would come in handy on race day. So doing one of these things on race day would probably be amazing, but especially doing it while you're experiencing the cold water. But if you're in absence of cold water, definitely could have almost the same effect because I could feel the water the way I wanted it to feel. When you told me to go ahead and put the temperature wherever I wanted to, I just like I automatically went, well, I wanted the temperature that the lake is at right now. And what does that feel like so that I can relax at the same temperature? That was pretty cool. I liked it.
Awesome. I love where you took your visualization, and because you took it to such a beautiful, clear place inside of you that you could feel it, the Recode allowed you to experience it before you would experience it outside.
Yeah,
So you've already, that is your new truth.
I
Yeah.
like it. This is
Congratulations.
so beneficial for even very proficient swimmers because relaxation, your level of relaxation, especially on the swim, makes a huge difference. When you are relaxed, you can be a lot more buoyant than if you're experiencing your body's experiencing any kind of stress. You feel it in the water.
I love it.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
well, we're getting ready to wrap it up, and I want to invite people to join the 5-day triathlon challenge. We're going to do things such as we did today, and we're going to tackle any kind of fear that may be keeping you so that you don't have to say, I can never do that, or I have this obstacle. It's just sign up for the 5-day challenge, and it doesn't cost them anything, so I think it's going to be very fun. There's not a lot of work to do. As you saw today, it's easy. It's nice. It's going to be a great experience. It's not going to take a lot of your time. You're going to come out of it with a lot more confidence to make that decision to do a triathlon or, just participate without any of those obstacles that you may be having. All
I love
right.
it. Thanks so much for doing this, Victor, because if people can just have that easier first step, I it really is a fun event to do. So
Absolutely.
thanks
And I'm
for
going
doing
to put the links at the bottom of this, wherever I put it, whether it be, it's mostly going to be on Facebook, but I'll have it on YouTube. I'll load it on other ones. And if you're listening to this, just hit the links below, and that's going to sign you up for the 5-day challenge. And I'll get you a lot more information from that. And also, Sabine, where can somebody find you if they want to do some of this work? how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I added to my name. My website is becomingyou.life, becomingyou.life. I have on my website you can sign up for a 30-minute session if you want to really talk about what this might be, to do it one-on-one like you and I just did. Um, or if you just want to know more, you can sign up for my newsletter. I share personal stories about how I am making these shifts within me to inspire and guide others to make these shifts within themselves. So, depending on what you might like, both those options are at my website, becomingyou.life.
Awesome. Thank you, Sabine. You are amazing. You do amazing work.
Thank
And for everybody else, if you need any help and you want to contact, her link will be there. If you want to sign for the 5-day challenge, the link will be there as well.
you.
Thank
Wonderful.
you, everyone. Thank you, Sabine.
Thank
And
you, Victor.
I will see you soon.